Welcome to Twice a Week. Check. Audio's
check.
Get down.
Action.
Twice a Week podcast, episode 8.
That one was slower than usual.
Yeah, it's early morning, Pooley.
We're a little slow right now, but
All right, so if you guys couldn't tell, we are somewhere different other than the studio. This is actually El Salvador. We're down here with a few of our homies and brought all the equipment down here. We ended up being able to fit it on Pooley's carry-on, and we thought maybe we'd just talk about the trip a little bit. And I think the best part was day one before I even flew in, because I came in after everyone, and I would love to hear your rendition of what went down, Pooley.
so the trip started off a little bit sketchy. We got to the airport and we had a car rental. However, the car was given to us without a key and with less than a quarter tank of gas. So my mind naturally wandered to the worst case scenario. And so for about an hour, it was like an hour and a half, we were stuck at the airport without a car in the middle of a parking lot. Pretty scared. But after all that went down, we got the key, everything turned out okay. And then since then, this is day 10 of a 10-day trip, and 9 of the 10 days besides that first day have been just absolutely wonderful. So we're staying in a place called Playa San Blas, which is in La Libertad of El Salvador. And if you've never been here, I would highly suggest visiting. There's a place called El Tunco right down the road here, and it's probably one of the coolest little night scenes I've ever seen in my life. It's just like this little, I don't even know if you'd call it a village. It's like a downtown area right on the Pacific Ocean, and it just runs straight to it, and there's all kinds of little bars, restaurants, shops, and there's people selling jewelry on the side of the road. And I think the first night we got here, the last time I was here, we went out and there was maybe a couple hundred people that were out roaming around, having fun, partying. But this time there were thousands of people, and I think most people that watch this are from Pensacola, and it was more crowded than downtown Pensacola on a gallery night.
Yeah, by far.
It was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. But one interesting thing that happened while we were down here is I think the second or third day we were here, the president of El Salvador announced that they are going to start making a change from the U.S. dollar to Bitcoin as the national currency here, which is very interesting. What do you think about that?
I think, being a guy who's involved with Bitcoin a little bit, I think it's the best thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
And we have some other friends that are going to be even more stoked. That Bitcoin ATM machine is like the sickest thing I've ever seen.
We went to the ATM down in El Tunco to get some cash out. And there's the regular ATMs, and then over in the corner was this super futuristic-looking ATM, and it was just for cryptocurrency. And so I'll put a picture of it right here so you can see it. So this is the first Bitcoin ATM I've seen. Maybe this is the first of many. Maybe this will become the new standard for ATMs. I don't know. But
I wonder who had the first one.
I know.
I wonder think it was U.S. or you think it was here?
Probably I don't know. I want to say U.S., but I don't know if that's ignorant to say.
Yeah, I know, right?
But yeah, that's the first one I've seen was here.
So you and Jake, you've been down here a few times, and you guys have told me, you have to come down.
Yeah.
This is so beyond, my expectations of what I thought it was going to be. The friendliness of people, versus the other Central America trips we've done. The trip from the airport is under an hour, which is unbelievable. We had to get our COVID test yesterday, and we thought it was going to just ruin our day. It ended up being super easy.
Yeah, it was quick.
We're walking to one of the best breaks from our house, restaurants everywhere, grocery stores right down the road. This place is amazing, and it's just as cheap as everywhere else.
Yeah. Also, to kind of add to the kind of counterintuitiveness of how sketchy everyone kind of thinks El Salvador is, we went to an ATM a few nights ago, and I got some cash out, but I left my debit card in the ATM in El Tunco. And we went out, and we were out for 2 or 3 hours. And we just so happened to be walking back by that ATM, and there was a fellow there named Ted. Ted, thank you so much if you're watching this somehow.
Yeah, Ted.
Ted's from New York City, and he's visiting here. but he found my card, and I kind of mentioned something to him before I left about the Bitcoin ATM, just really quick. And he waited for us for like 3 hours in front of the ATM, noticed our group, and said, hey, is this one of y'all's debit cards? And it was my debit card. And he just gave it back, and I gave him some cash and thanked him. But just stuff like that. Like, you wouldn't expect things like that to happen here, but, I mean, just a super, super good place. Everyone's super nice and kind of looking out for each other.
I think the crazier part about that situation is an Asian guy named Ted.
Yes, that was amazing.
Do you know, we saw him last night again.
Where?
When we got out of the water, he was walking up by the restaurant.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. I wish I could have saw him.
Cool.
Yeah.
I know. Such a good guy.
Hey, if a set comes through, don't be afraid to zoom in on that thing.
Yeah, for sure.
There was a tarantula in our house last night.
Oh, yeah, I'll put up that video. That's the biggest boy I've ever seen in person.
Yeah.
We also found out that Jake is the only one who's not scared of him.
Yeah. There's a tarantula that lives because of this guy. If you get a shot of this guy right here.
Yeah.
It's our producer.
Yeah.
So,
Go for it, buddy.
I guess going from east to west, the main breaks that people surf here that are visiting, like tourists, starting this way down here, you have Punta Roca, which is like a really heavy point break, but it really only breaks when it's like pretty big, I feel like. And so that's like probably the best break around here when it's working. And then coming this way, you have a place called El Cocal, which El Cocal is right there. That's the break that we're staying on. And so that was actually working really well the first day we were here, but it kind of got small, and we're hoping it's going to turn on again today. And then if you keep going further that way, if you zoom in on those mountains right there, that's where a place called La Bacana and Sunzal is. And El Tunco, the little downtown area I was telling you guys about, that's actually between La Bacana and Sunzal. And so if you keep going further down, then you have El Zonte, which there's a resort there called Puro Surf. That's where Jake and I stayed last time we were here. It's a really nice place. But yeah, that's kind of like the extent of my knowledge of El Salvador. It's kind of like this small area of coast is what I'm familiar with, but nothing else really. And then, do you remember the name of the waterfall we went to?
It's like Cascada or something, but I think that just means waterfall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it was called.
But
But we'll throw up a couple pictures and probably a vid from that.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah, I really do think, like, if that waterfall were easier to, like, get to and, like, easier to get out of, it would be a huge tourist attraction because it's, like, 25 minutes away from where all the action is here, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It blew me away. Like, I did not expect that to look like that.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to be as difficult to get out of there, too.
Yeah, so I think anyone who visits El Tunco or El Salvador definitely should go visit that waterfall specifically just because it was super sick.
So you think like 100% if you were to buy property somewhere other than America, it would be here?
Probably. I haven't been to I don't think I've been to enough other places to
Let's say just like out of the places in Central America you've been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here. Yeah. Specifically this like little town.
Yeah,
This
for
little
sure.
area. Yeah.
Should we, I mean, I don't even want to say it on the air because then we got to do it. But we got to learn some fucking Spanish, bro.
I know. I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to offend people if I try to speak Spanish.
No, dude, that's how cool the people are down here. I mean, we're so bad, it hurts me.
Yeah.
My favorite is watching Jake.
Mm-hmm.
You're secondary.
Well, what I do,
¿Qué?
¿Qué? Someone will say something to me in Spanish, and my immediate reaction is I just turn back to all of you guys. I'm like, let's collectively think about what they just said and see if we can figure out what they said.
And I have like those 4 things that I got really good at saying with like a decent accent.
Yeah.
And so I rattle it off to him, and then I'm like, oh shit, there's about to be a rebuttal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'm looking back at you guys for help. It's like, yeah, I don't know, dude.
Yeah. They do the rebuttal, and then you pescado español?
Yeah.
Pescado? Is it fish? Is it, see? I keep saying fish. Fish Spanish. If you can't speak Spanish, say fish Spanish. They'll know what you mean.
Mucho bueno, Pulley. That's right, bud.
Gosh.
So, yeah, I mean, we're pretty into farting, flatulent noises, squeakers, whatever you want to call them. It has been 10 out of 10 for everyone except for Mason.
Right
Mason's
here
had
behind the camera.
old cameraman Mason. One audible fart the entire trip. The rest of his farts are and just reek the entire house. I don't know if it's the air, the water, as in like the seawater, or the food.
Yeah.
But I mean, every time, dude, it's like, it's a magical thing.
It is. This is something cool. So I haven't been reading the news since I've been down here, and suddenly, since I haven't been reading the news, the world is a much more peaceful place. That's pretty crazy.
Isn't that weird how that works?
Yeah. Yeah, just go ahead and get on CNN.com or FoxNews.com right now and tell me what you see. It's probably going to be some bullshit. That doesn't matter. All right, I take that back. I get on the news like once a day. But I'm doing
so addicted.
I'll check, but this time I've been checking specifically Fox News and CNN only, and I just look at what their headlines are, and it's almost always like it's just baffling. What is the headline of the day? It's like, oh, this one member of Congress said this one thing, and it made the other member of Congress feel this way. It's like a reality. It is a reality show.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. If you watch either of those news outlets, I suggest you just immediately delete them off your phone and stop reading them, because it's not teaching you anything. Like, you're not learning anything that's actually going on in the world that matters.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I'm glad I got that out of the way.
Dude, that's important to talk about because people's minds are just completely soured. One day, maybe, dude, there'll just be an unbiased, just information outlet, right?
I mean, I feel like anything's gonna be biased. It's about, like, I feel like those outlets specifically, I mean, they've accepted the fact that they're gonna be biased, and then they've just taken it and just completely ran with it. Like, let's just, like, if we're gonna be biased, let's just sell our bias and profit off of it. That's kind of what it is.
Right.
Everything's gonna be biased, but you just want to try to keep it as little as biased as possible.
It's impossible to not be because you have personal opinions.
Yeah, but that's a problem because the less bias you have, then that's the less profit margin you have, because then people can't buy your bias. So that's the issue.
Right, right. You got to get people on your team.
Yeah. There's my rant.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a pretty happy person, and I never look at the news, and it might be all attributed to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But some things are important to know. Mm-hmm. But I feel like the things, like, if something bad is going to happen that could potentially affect me, I'll probably find out about.
Yeah. Yeah?
Probably from you.
Yeah. Come out of my...
So actually, thanks for watching the news. Keep doing it.
Yeah. I'll say, I want to talk about how I already caught COVID and I have the vaccine, yet I still had to... I didn't have to get a test to come down here, but I still have to get a test to go back into the United States, which I guess I kind of get because I guess the vaccine is supposed to make your symptoms less harsh, but I've also already caught it, and I can know about the UK variant and stuff. But it just seems really, it's just really annoying to me that, like, I went through the whole vaccine process, got it, but I still had to go get the same tests that all you guys had to get to go back into the United States.
And that's kind of how they marketed it, right? Like, in the fine print, it's like, just so you know, like, this doesn't mean that you're not going to, or you can't catch COVID.
Yeah.
But they market it as, like, no worries, once you have the vaccine, just show your card.
Yeah.
And you're still paying money to be able to travel.
Yeah, it's just frustrating.
The struggle for me is being, not vaccinated. I didn't get COVID, at least. I didn't feel that I got it. I got tested for the first time to come down here.
Yeah.
But I have Blue Cross Blue Shield medical insurance, and I had to pay $200 to get my nose fucked.
Yeah.
To come down here. Isn't that like the whole reason that you have health insurance?
You would think so.
So that they cover that kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Also, while we're on that really quick, I just feel like... No, I'm not going to go off on that tangent. That's going to take too long.
Yeah, you're good. We can cut whatever we need, baby.
Just giving... I don't know what the whole... So the way government's supposed to work, specifically in the United States, it was formed so that as you go up the forms of government, power is supposed to be lesser, right? So you have your local county ordinances, and those really affect your day-to-day life.
Right.
Or they're supposed to. You have your local government. So the local board, the Board of County Commissioners, they pass these laws, and they actually affect your day-to-day life because that's where you live. And then you go up to the state government, Florida, Ron DeSantis, all that. They pass these state laws, and they affect your day-to-day a little bit less than the county ordinances, but they affect your day more than the federal laws. Or at least they're supposed to. And then you go up to federal government, and they pass these broad laws that the states, use as a guideline as to what they want to do. However, if they don't want to adhere to those guidelines, they still have the states and the counties have the power to say, no, we're going to do it a different way. But I don't like the whole COVID thing sucked, and the worst thing about it is the fact that it's the federal government is just accumulating more and more power over the state and the county governments, which is not good. That's not how our system was set up.
Hence why a lot of people were against the mask thing. Because that's kind of like a tester for the federal government. Like, okay, how much can we infiltrate in these states?
It's like I get the mask thing. Everyone gets why the mask thing was put into place. Everyone can understand it, but there's a deeper issue at play because you can't have the federal government coming into a county or a state that said, well, we think it's better for us to do it this way. If the federal government has the power to come in and overstep that, then what's stopping the federal government from coming in and just overpowering everyone and just saying, nope, this is how we're doing it? Because then what happens is you have one man or one entity ruling everything, and that's the complete opposite of what the United States is supposed to be.
Right. And we're at greater risk now than ever because of what just happened.
Yeah.
So now they're like, oh, maybe we'll try to push it a little farther next time when something happens, right?
Yeah. So that's what kind of upsets me the most about the whole thing. But
yeah. On a positive note, we're sitting on a roof in El Salvador looking at the Pacific.
That's true. You're right.
And we're not wearing masks right now. Negativo on the testo. We're going to send it back home. And we live in Florida, too. So we were the most lax the whole time. So I'm super thankful for that.
Yeah.
Props to our governor, man.
Does anybody want to say anything?
Come here. John wants to talk about Blue Cross Blue Shield. I guess we're rocking the same health insurance.
So we had Blue Cross Blue Shield back in 2011. First off, fuck those guys. My mom had stage 4 cancer.
Yeah.
Stage 3. Double metastatic. She went through the breast cancer surgeries. She had 52 rounds of chemotherapy. And at around round 30, they said, hey, this is a pre-existing condition, and we're not going to cover it. And Florida Blue Cross paid nothing. My dad had $60,000 in his savings and dumped it all on the initial payments. And then he declared bankruptcy, lost his credit score. He can never buy a house ever again. And we went through the rest of the process. She got better. But it is ridiculous how they can immediately say, hey, this is a pre-existing condition. We don't want to cover it. How can you make a business that's supposed to care for someone, but the whole goal of those companies is to figure out how to not pay it? Why do we live in a system that operates this way?
Well, then that's when you run into the debate of should we federalize healthcare? Should healthcare be ran by the government or not?
And the debate of that is, will the advancement of our medical care keep going because they're not getting paid as much?
But yeah, I mean, that's
Catch-23.
I feel like a lot of people can relate to to that story you just said, because I've heard several stories with the same thing, and it's hard because you can't really hold these companies accountable for doing things like that, because the only way to hold them accountable is to get a team of lawyers, and to get a team of lawyers, you have to have tens of thousands of dollars, but you already spent all your money on your medical bills.
Right, and their lawyers are creme de crop.
So yeah, they'll just keep the process going until you run out of money. That they know what they're doing, and so it's a tough issue, and I'm not smart enough on the issue to even really argue like a point on it, but it is an issue that should be talked about more, and I'm glad we talked about it. Thank you, John.
Yeah, way to bring that up, and you should keep bringing it up because it's fucked.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And I hope that maybe our generation will have have something to do with that getting better, because maybe those fucks will die off while we're still alive. Yeah, you want to come in here for a second?
Come on in here for a second.
Come on, Jakey.
No.
Here, you sit in You sit in this chair.
No, I think we're okay. I do think that's a super interesting point John made, though, about how healthcare works. And Nick brought up a good point about, like, federally taking over. But it's pretty interesting how things operate in the country, how it's not necessarily that you get punished for being unhealthy, but we treat it like that being healthy, there's, like, no benefit besides the blessing of being healthy, which really is a blessing. Like, being healthy, not sick, and
Absolutely.
able to do what you want to do is a wonderful thing. But the fact that people get punished for terminal illness and chronic disease is baffling.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that someone has stage 4 cancer, and everyone knows the cost of that's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, Nick and myself worked in a hospital I barely made it a year. Nick worked there for 3, but tallying up the costs and what those companies make off people is astronomical. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's insane. We would do I don't know how many EKGs a day. And I mean, if you divide up the time it would take us to do that EKG, we were getting paid about a dime, maybe 20 cents to do that EKG. The patient was being charged, what was it, like $500 for it?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, and the machine itself, I get it costs like $10,000, but the machine pays for itself after a week of use.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, where's all this money going to?
Yeah, there's no
Like,
telling.
it's just this system, and I know a lot of it goes to research, like medical research and all this stuff, but there's also a lot of federal grants going to medical research. There's a lot of academic grants going to research. So it's a big issue.
No,
We'll talk about it
absolutely.
again, but
Absolutely. I mean, healthcare will forever be an extremely debatable topic, especially in the United States, because, I mean, truly, is there any right way to do it? Because federal healthcare, as we know, sucks. Like, if you look at...
Well, people like that have free healthcare come here for major operations
exactly.
because our doctors are better.
Yeah. But then private healthcare is such, like, a corrupted industry that, like, there's no real right way to go about doing it. It's like,
Right.
yeah, you can get fantastic surgeries and all these other benefits, but at the same time, like, if you need something done and don't have the capital to pay for it, you just get fucked.
Right.
And then I think one way to start fixing the issue is if you are thinking about going into the healthcare industry, unless you love taking care of people and you love medicine, like the science of medicine, you shouldn't do it. That's the other big thing, because you have these doctors that go to school and they're in 6 figures in debt, and by the time they're out, they realize they don't like medicine, and now they're like, oh, well, I'm here now, like, I'm just going to make as much money as possible. And so that's another big issue. But if you go into it and you come out of med school and you're following your passion, you love medicine, you're going to be more likely to take a little bit less pay and to help more people because you're doing what you love.
And excluding, like, things that are out of your control completely, like in John's mom's case, the best thing you can do is be the healthiest person you can so you don't fall into this if you don't have to.
Yeah, that's a
right?
good. Mm-hmm.
Exercise, eat well, take care of yourself, get good sleep.
Oh yeah.
And then maybe you never have to experience the terrible parts of the healthcare system.
Preventative medicine is the best medicine.
Right.
For sure.
But for our people that can't help it, for our people that get cancer and stuff, that the system should be better for them,
Mhm.
and it sucks that it's not.
Yeah. Yep. Good talk. I like that.
Thanks for coming on, Jakey boy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, also, at the end of the day, we have all these issues that we've talked about and everything, but I'm extremely grateful that we live in a country where we can say this stuff and we can critique it and not be worried about going to jail.
Right.
Or not be worried.
Or assassinated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's, at the end of the day, we're very, very blessed and lucky to live where we live.
And that's a huge reason why change is possible.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And like the founding fathers, they said to create a more perfect union. It's never going to be perfect, but we can always make it more perfect.
Right.
So it's good to talk about this stuff. At the same time, having gratitude for being able to talk about it.
Right, right.
I think, but
Got to stay grateful, baby.
that's right.
And thankful, and I am so thankful for you and all of our friends, dude. This trip has been absolutely amazing.
It
I
has
can't
been.
wait to come through the vids and
Mm-hmm.
the pictures. Love you, bro. Love you guys. We are twice a week coming at you from El Salvador.
And let's have a chat.